Hello everyone and welcome back. There's a lot of mythology that surrounds rock and roll, and today we're looking at 7 insane stories about famous guitarists that are entirely true. Let's dive into it. I'm going to call the first story Slash's Cat. Throughout the years, the Guns N' Roses guitarist had made a hobby out of collecting exotic animals, snakes, lizards, and even an abandoned mountain lion he'd named Curtis. In 1994, Guns N' Roses were on hiatus, and Slash was home in LA when the massive Northridge earthquake hit. His mansion was destroyed, so he set up shop at a Four Seasons hotel, and of course he wasn't going to leave his animals behind, so he brought them with him, locking the mountain lion in the bathroom. One night he was leaving the hotel and saw the mountain lion strolling down the corridor. It had somehow opened both the bathroom and hotel doors and was on the loose. Slash grabbed the nearest phone he could find, called up an animal caretaker friend who came, trapped the mountain lion, and took him to a facility for rescued animals. Moving on, Jimi Hendrix's childhood was difficult to say the least, and it's not surprising that he found himself on the wrong side of the law early on. On May 2nd, 1961, a teenage Hendrix was arrested for being in a stolen car. He spent a night in jail but was released because it was his first offense. Then, only 4 days later, he was arrested again because, again, he was caught riding in a stolen vehicle. Though he claimed that he didn't know either car was stolen, he spent another 8 days in jail and was facing a 5-year sentence. He agreed to a 2-year suspended sentence on the condition that he join the military, but his stint in the armed forces was cut short after he was given a full discharge. Why? Because Jimmy claimed that he was romantically drawn to his fellow army men, and at the time that was very much frowned upon. Next up, Keith Richards' father had been adamant in life that he wanted to be cremated. The Rolling Stones guitarist obliged this request, and for about 5 years his father's remains sat in a box. Well, before he went to plant the tree, he opened the box and a bunch of the ashes spilled on Keith's table. In Keith's words, "Honestly, I could not resist. I just scooped him up there, picked up a straw, said, 'See ya, Dad,' and I did a little line of him." The ashes that didn't make their way up Keith's nose were planted with the sapling, which is apparently growing big and strong. In 1982, Stevie Ray Vaughan played the Montreux Jazz Festival. He had no album, no record label, he was mostly unknown at the time, but he definitely left a mark on the audience. Many of them didn't like his music, and audible boos can be heard on the recording of the show. However, in the audience was one David Bowie. Bowie absolutely loved the performance and recruited Stevie to play on his next album, Let's Dance, where you can hear SRV's signature blues riffs on the title track. He also asked Stevie to accompany him on the following tour, but ultimately Stevie backed out so that he could focus on his band Double Trouble and their upcoming album, Texas Flood. Now, this is one of the gutsiest moves in the history of the blues. To put this in context, David Bowie was among the biggest stars at the time, and Stevie Ray Vaughan was virtually unknown. The gamble paid off, Texas Flood was a huge success, and it probably didn't hurt being known as the guy who blew off Bowie. Zac Wylde was in the midst of a string of tour dates when he started feeling an immense pain in his leg. Not being one to complain, he powered through it until it eventually got to the point where medical intervention was necessary. He went to the hospital where the doctor diagnosed him with blood clots. He was prescribed a blood thinner to prevent those clots from moving upwards where they can cause serious damage. The doctor told Zac that he probably should have died 2 weeks ago when he started feeling the pain, but since he'd been drinking so heavily for the past 30 years, the alcohol in his blood was essentially working like the blood thinning medication, saving his life. However, he did find out soon after that he had a bunch of other health issues stemming from drinking, forcing him to cut it out. So definitely don't take this as me saying that binge drinking is good for your health. Moving on, back in the 70s, Black Sabbath was chugging along full speed. And part of touring is long extended periods of boredom. And if you were Black Sabbath back in the 70s, a big part of touring was also drug use. These two things are not a good combination. Guitarist Tony Iommi would often prank his bandmate Bill Ward, and one of these famed pranks was setting Bill on fire. When I think of pranks, I think of harmless things like, I don't know, whoopee cushions, fake phone calls, not aggravated assault. But to each their own. Well, one time this prank went a little too far. In Tony's words, "I tipped rubbing alcohol over him. Normally it just burned off, but this time it soaked into his clothes, so when I lit it, he went up like a bomb. He was rolling on the floor, shouting and screaming. I thought it was part of the joke, so I poured more stuff on him. Bill had to go to the hospital with 3rd-degree burns. Got him." And last for today, let me tell you about a dinner party at Prince's Paisley Park. The artist known as Prince had been approached about playing the halftime show at the Super Bowl, so he set up a meeting with his concert promoter as well as an ABC exec over dinner at his house. In the words of John Maglin, the promoter, "His chef makes us a very nice dinner. Then Prince suddenly produces this portable DVD player and he starts critiquing all these previous halftime show performers. He's saying, 'I wouldn't have done that,' stuff like that, and finally one of us says, 'Well, what would you do?' He says, 'I will show you. Follow me.' They walked upstairs to where Prince's entire band had been silently waiting. Prince then put on a 15-minute performance for the two of them. Not too bad for after-dinner entertainment. The pitch worked, and Prince put on what's considered one of the best Super Bowl performances in 2007. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, 7 insane stories about famous guitarists. If you like this video, drop me a like or let me know in the comments. I've got merch just like this shirt that I'm wearing today available over at www.shopsamuraiguitarist.com. To watch another video like this one, hit that link up there. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. An extra big thank you to everyone who supports my channel through Patreon. Thank you all for watching. I'm Samurai Guitarist, and I will see you again soon.